A lot of people take pride in their cars. The vehicles we drive are status symbols, and having an expensive, fast car is a sign to the rest of the world that you're doing well in life. No matter how powerful the car you have parked in your driveway is, though, we bet you don't have anything like the stunning vehicles you're about to see in this video. Simply put, they're the most incredible cars that exist anywhere in the world. Have you ever looked at a yacht and thought, that's great, but wouldn't it be better if it had tracks fitted to the base? No? You're probably not alone. But now that we've seen it done, we think it's an incredibly cool idea. This is the Iguana X100, a 32-foot-long boat with caterpillar tracks attached. There's no need to delicately maneuver your truck or trailer onto the shoreline to deploy this yacht into the water. It can drive there itself. It's easy to drive, and it can even handle steep inclines if the path down to the water is on an incline. Once it gets into the water, the tracks simply fold away into the side of the boat until they're needed again. It's a great convenience for people who like to indulge in yachting, but convenience always comes at a price. In this case, the price is $220,000. That's almost $250,000. There's a reason why yachting is a hobby for the rich. From the outside, it doesn't look like there's anything remarkable about the Cruise AV at all. It just looks like a regular, everyday Chevy Bolt EV. That's a nice car, but it's nothing to write home about. Only when you get inside the Cruise AV do you realize the massive leap forward in technology that it represents. You've seen self-driving cars before, but not on this level. General Motors has made a car that's 100% automated. There aren't any pedals inside. There isn't even a steering wheel. You couldn't take control of this car even if you wanted to. It's currently in the final stages of safety testing before it's approved for a commercial release in the United States, although there's been interest from Syria in getting it out on the roads there. Despite its humble appearance, this might just be the convenient driving solution of the future. Specialized jobs require specialized tools. If the specialized task in hand is uprooting a full-size tree and moving it to another location without damaging the tree, the tool you're going to need for the task is the Dutchman truck spade, which does exactly the job that's implied by its name. Not only can it smoothly extract a tree from the ground, but it also takes with it the entire trunk and the roots, meaning the tree suffers no significant harm when it's on the move. Perhaps the most impressive thing about this piece of technology is that it can pull trees up in one single, precise movement. The AR400 grade steel blades carve their way into the ground, grab the tree, pluck it out as easily as you'd pluck a hair from your eyebrow. At present, the largest commercially available model of the truck can deal with trees that have trunks 1 foot in diameter and weigh up to 21,000 pounds. It's not the only tree transport vehicle in the world, but it is the most powerful and accurate. When a vehicle remains in military service for nearly half a century, that says everything about what a well-built, high-quality machine it was. The Lark LX, also known as the Lark 60, made its debut in the U.S. Army in 1952 and was still in operation until 2001. The name is an anagram which stands for Lighter, Amphibious, Resupply, Cargo. And as the name implies, it's an amphibious vehicle that manages to be comparatively lightweight despite having a welded steel hull. At full capacity, it could carry either 200 soldiers or 100 tons of equipment. 4 engines attached to the sides of the hull powered the vehicle when it was driven on land, but when it went in the water, a pair of propellers took over the work. It wasn't the fastest vehicle you've ever seen, capable of a maximum speed of 20 miles per hour on land or 7.5 at sea, but nothing this big was ever likely to break speed records. More often than not, Lark units were used to transport other tracked or wheeled military vehicles. If the Lark represents the past of military amphibious vehicles, then the UHAC represents the future. Currently at the trial and testing stage, the Ultra Heavy Lift Amphibious Connector is an almost unbelievable new development that will soon be available to the U.S. Marine Corps. Like the Lark, its job is to get troops, other vehicles, and valuable military equipment from water base to land base safely and securely. You won't find any propellers on this incredible car, though. Instead, it's borrowed elements of its design from large fish. The tracks are actually air foam blocks capable of extending out like flippers in order to give the vehicle traction when it's at sea. As soon as it reaches the land, the tracks are flattened out and become similar to the kind you'd find on a tank. It's such a massive and adaptable vehicle that it can carry 3 full-size tanks at the same time, and it's capable of climbing over seawalls 12 feet high. We love a good pun, and so we're very happy that Kobe Gerwerts decided to rename his 1963 Ford Econoline van Van Gogh. It's more than worthy of the name, though. This old van has been modernized and renovated to the point where it really should be considered a work of art. Kobe was given the old truck by his friend Mike Gary free of charge, and Gary challenged him to do something creative with it. Kobe didn't disappoint him. There isn't much of the original Ford left. The vehicle has been lowered, and the chassis is a top-to-bottom custom build. The suspension has been taken from a Mustang II. The original engine has been stripped out and replaced by a Chevy 350. Even the chain-driven gearbox is a custom build, specially designed to fit the limited cab space the car provides. Open up the doors and you'll find an interior designed by world-renowned woodwork artist Pablo Perez, who even went as far as hiding the engine away beneath a custom cover. There isn't another van like this anywhere on the planet. Many of us have enjoyed a caravanning holiday in the past, but if we're honest with ourselves, very few of us would enjoy living in a caravan full-time. They can become cramped, hot, and unhygienic. Not all caravans are like that, though, and this one, in particular, is a luxury home on wheels. Built by SLRV Expedition Vehicles in Australia after being commissioned by a large and wealthy family, there are 6 bedrooms inside the caravan, split across 3 floors. It also has a dining room, a living room, and a full-size bathroom. There are even extra beds that come down from the ceiling in case the owners have guests staying with them. If they want to eat outside when they're parked up in the wilderness, that's no problem. The van comes with a fold-out external kitchen. You might want one of these caravans yourself after seeing these images, and the company would be happy to make one for you. All you need to do is come up with the $2 million price tag. This futuristic-looking vehicle is a Volkswagen, although you'd never know that based on its appearance. It's a concept car that was dreamed up by a Chinese student named Zhang Yuhan for a competition sponsored by the car manufacturer, and it's capable of moving across any type of terrain on the planet. The so-called Volkswagen Aqua is loosely inspired by a hovercraft, although you won't find any other hovercraft that looks this sleek and dynamic. Designed with the environment in mind, the Aqua runs on 2 electronic motors, one of which is tasked with inflating a skirt to support the vehicle when it moves onto water, where it's pushed along with high-tech propulsion fans. Underpinning all that power is a hydrogen fuel cell capable of supplying enough energy to get the car up to 62 miles per hour. That's not all that fast on the roads, but it's incredible fast acceleration across a swamp. Needless to say, it won the competition it was entered into. Normally, if someone told you that they were living in their car, you'd assume they were down on their luck. That wouldn't be the case if they owned a Dunkel Industries luxury 4x4, though. This is $500,000 worth of comfort and style. The leather, wood, and fiberglass creation is 35 feet long. That means it'll struggle to fit into smaller spaces, but that's no issue. If you need to go somewhere with limited parking space, you can just use a regular car, which you can easily fit on the back. There's even room on top for a few dirt bikes if that's your thing too. We're impressed by the 300 horsepower engine and the 6-speed auto transmission, but we're equally impressed by the standard of the interior's spectacular finish, complete with carpets, 110 power outlets, flat-screen television, and onboard computers. People live in apartments that have fewer amenities than this. At first glance, you might think this truck has suffered an accident and flipped upside down. Don't worry though, it's supposed to look like this. The car is called Flipover, and it's all the work of one slightly eccentric American custom car enthusiast. Rick Sullivan built his one-of-a-kind vehicle by cutting 2 old cars up and putting them together, and the entire project cost him only $6,000. The bottom of the car is a 1991 Ford Ranger pickup, but most of what you can see is an F-150 pickup from 1995, which has been layered on top of the earlier car upside down. Rick, who runs a body shop, was inspired to create Flipover when he was called to the scene of an upturned Ford Ranger in order to retrieve it. He thought the car looked strangely beautiful in its upside-down state, and so he decided to replicate the appearance in the form of a road-legal car. He didn't even tell his wife he was making it. He just turned up outside her place of work one day to pick her up and take her home. Despite the name, the Bond Bug is not a leftover prop from an old James Bond movie. It's a 3-wheeled British car that's legal to drive in real life, and it was manufactured by Bond Cars during its original production run between 1970 and 1974. The distinctive-looking bright orange vehicle is wedge-shaped and has screens instead of doors. Even the canopy lifts up and comes away. If you think you've seen something like this somewhere before, you're probably a Star Wars fan. The land speeder, driven by Luke Skywalker in the very first Star Wars movie, was actually a Bond Bug, with the wheels disguised by mirrors that were angled to the ground. It was briefly thought that highly maneuverable 3-wheeled cars were the vehicles of the future in the 1960s and 1970s. That didn't turn out to be the case, but there's still great enthusiasm for the Bond Bug whenever it turns up at a classic car show to this day. The purpose of the Bloodhound LSR is given away by those 3 letters that appear at the end of its name. They stand for Land Speed Record. This long, thin, British-built vehicle is intended by the team behind it to become the first car in history to exceed 1,000 miles per hour over land. If it's successful, it will break the existing land speed record by more than 30%. Obviously, a standard engine would never be capable of achieving such a feat, which is why Bloodhound has both a rocket engine and a jet engine to rely upon. Millions of dollars have so far been spent on the project, which became endangered when the original company behind it went bankrupt in 2018. Fortunately, a millionaire businessman bought it in 2019 and is now performing modifications of his own with a view to reaching the record-breaking pace at some point in 2020. It's expected that it will require 42 seconds to crack the 1,000 mile per hour mark, after which it'll be slowed down again using a combination of air brakes and parachutes. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, and you will be the first to know when a new video comes out. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.